Hello everyone, this is Guy with Southern Jewelry News, and this is another episode of the Pearls of Wisdom Jewelry Podcast. Enjoy the episode. Hello everyone, this is Guy with the Southern Jewelry News with another amazing episode of the Pearls of Wisdom Jewelry Podcast, and I am here with my lovely co-host Elesa Dillon, associate publisher of Southern Jewelry News. Thank you for always gracing us with your presence. It's always great to have you around. Yes, I always need
always
a
great
little
to be
Lisa
here.
in my life. So, and
Every
and today our special guest is Mark Loren from Mark Loren Designs in Fort Myers, Florida. Thank you for joining us, Mark, and great seeing you again. And really excited to talk to you.
Oh, I appreciate it, Guy. Thanks for the invitation.
We are just excited. Yes, Mark, let's meet Mark. And I know that on your website you have this great let's meet Mark. You look so cool on your website about how much you love making jewelry. Tell us a little bit about Mark Loren Designs and a little bit about yourself.
Well, originally from Chicago and trained in the Chicago area on the North Shore of Chicago, and went to a technical school. I kind of didn't go the med school route. And from the first time I sat down in technical school at the jeweler's bench, actually it was the watchmaking bench because I had to take watchmaking first. I just fell in love with it. I was transfixed, and I knew early on that I was a quick satisfaction guy. I liked quick returns. I knew I wasn't going to be doing social work that was going to take, or research that was going to take 10 years out. I liked quick results, and jewelry appealed to that immensely. So the move down from Chicago to Florida back in 1982, I was working for an amazing 5-store jewelry chain out of Chicago, out in the suburbs. And every day of the week I was in a different store, meeting with clients, designing custom jewelry. Then I was also troubleshooting with the jewelers in those shops. Even though I was pretty young, I had a lot of experience behind me. So when my employer said, "Hey, I'm opening up a new store down in Florida, who wants to go for a year and help open that up?" I stuck my hand up because I was really tired of the Chicago weather. And that was back in 1982. I never looked back. The store was open for a few years. And during that time, I met some of the wonderful pioneer families in Fort Myers who were very supportive of my work and what we were doing. And when it came time to kind of figure out something to do, I didn't want to go back to Chicago. Wound up starting my own trade shop, doing work for other stores in the area. And that morphed into our own jewelry design gallery because I was trained to work with clients, and I really missed that. So essentially, the trade shop funded the start of our retail galleries.
That's
And an amazing team, great staff all along the way. We've won over a dozen Spectrum Awards. And we really concentrate on the custom and the repair aspect. And I get a lot of inquiries from other jewelers, like, how do you, if we've never had a jeweler before, how do we start with a jeweler? What do we look for? What do we do? And we've been doing that for 40 years. So I hope I can give them some impactful advice.
Fantastic. You tend to do that a lot, like consult with other jewelers and kind of help them, coach them along the way.
Yeah, coaching would be a great way to say it, Guy.
Got it. And I'm looking at your portfolio on the website. A lot of really unique, not just jewelry, but art.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I could really see the influence of art because not everything is symmetrical. Not everything is, some things you could see a creative decision making happening. How do you come up with your jewelry designs?
Well, I always come at it from an artist first. I always say I'm a artist first, businessman second, and definitely the business part is by the seat of my pants all the time. But I've learned to ask really smart people when I have business questions. But when it comes to the art, when it comes to designing, I trust my intuition and my instincts. I trust my eye when I'm shopping for gemstones. Looking at designs, my eye goes a certain way. But there's a lot of influences too. It could be furniture, it could be architecture. My recent Spectrum Award winning earrings that won 2 different Spectrum Awards, those really evolved from a chandelier I saw in a friend's house. So I was over having dinner and I just couldn't take my eyes off her chandelier. I said, there's just something about that that's captivating to me. and was sketching and sketching, and finally came up with the very simple ideas for the earrings, incorporating some technology as well. And it brought us 2 awards, which was a wonderful surprise.
Fantastic. You mentioned technology there. What can you do now that you can't do 20 plus years ago?
Well, we were probably one of the first ones to incorporate CAD design. I remember seeing it for the first time being demonstrated in Tucson, and it was such an epiphany. I stood there, probably with my jaw open. There's a crowd of people around the monitors as the guys were doing their thing. But back then it was not sliders that make it really quick and easy. It's about 15 different commands to move a stone 1 millimeter. But that's the way I saw it in my head. So the epiphany was, oh my gosh, and to be able to spin it and look at it in 3 dimension, because my attempts at creating something that I saw in my head were always carving a wax, fabrication, or a combination of those. So we stayed with CAD until we could really make it work for us. And then also incorporating laser welders into what we do has been a really, they just speed up the production so much, and they really eliminate a lot of liability on clients' pieces. So that type of technology, the laser cutting, laser engraving, which we just stepped into, we're pretty excited about. Even though we're using ancient techniques a lot in our industry, and the jewelry industry can be very slow to change, we're early adopters in almost everything. And we may take something on and play with it and then just spit it out.
This episode is brought to you by Gemstar. Lead your jewelry collection with brilliance and innovation. Experience the full line of fine jewelry with Star Lab by Gemstar. Discover our latest designs at gemstarco.com or call 1-866-368-5700. Big Eddie, and see what I think we can say that it's not ancient technology, but time-tested, proven techniques of developing jewelry, because it's still great today. But do you think there's a lot of jewelers out there that haven't taken on the technology, kind of afraid, or think that the investment is not worth the return? Or what's your experience?
It's a difficult question, because I wouldn't put it to technology guy. I would move it over to, I come at it from an artist. So we don't stick with the big gems, even though we do sell them, tanzanite, diamond, emerald, ruby, sapphire. We're always looking at things that catch our eye. So it may be a gem from Indonesia, chrysocolla with copper veins through it, or phantom quartz with a beautiful phantom quartz clear crystal inside another piece of quartz. And then we'll frame that with diamonds or rainbow sapphires or something. But one of the things when I'm talking with other jewelers is there's a difference between the business folks and the folks who are artists that have a really interesting sense of aesthetics and are willing to trust their aesthetics. Most business jewelers do what the consultants say. They do what the salesmen will put their line out and say, these are my top sellers. And a lot of folks will go, okay, well, I'll take those. And they don't intuit their own, what do I like? What do I want to show my clients? And so when you go from store to store to store, you see kind of the same thing over and over, when I would try to be encouraging people to look at, take the boundaries off and look at everything.
That's a great pearls of wisdom. I'll tell you right there, folks.
Well, one of the big trends too is sentimentality. So when people come in with something that's not necessarily a gemstone, but it's very sentimental, whatever that happens to be, we always look at how can we best frame this for the client to wear, because the piece will tell the story, or give the person who's wearing it an opportunity to tell the story. And that's one of the positive, powerful things about jewelry, is it opens up the conversation between people.
Yes, and I get a similar discussion going with jewelers in terms of marketing or branding. Some people think that we're a jewelry store, so let's show the beautiful bridal couple with the beautiful engagement ring and the wedding bands, and some people say, should I do this? This is what everybody does. It looks great. It's high end, but And I always ask, is that you? Is that really your personality? I mean, are you going to be, you're going to be just like everyone else. You're going to be competing with the big chain stores. You're going to be competing with all the other jewelers that do this. What's going to set you apart then if you don't differentiate yourself?
Good point.
And maybe, some are outdoorsmen. Some people love, the rodeo or riding a motorcycle. And if you can incorporate your personality into your business, your branding, your marketing, you stand out because, and you're not gonna attract everybody's attention, but you will definitely attract the people that those have the same interests. And
very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just did a wedding band for a couple. And actually, things can be simple too, Guy, where you do the simple, plain little engagement ring with the simple band. But if you just putting the two couples' first initials into it somehow on the top, really simple, very minimal, it personalizes it for them and it becomes their engagement ring for the two of them, not just something that was ordered out of a catalog. But a wedding band we just finished for this really lovely lady. I asked her, her soon-to-be husband, I said, what's her favorite thing to do? And he says, oh my God, fishing. I said, okay. Is there something she likes to fish for? Tarpon. So I said, would you happen to have a tarpon scale from one of the fish she caught? And he goes, yeah, I actually do. I said, can I get that? So we wound up inlaying that tarpon scale into the wedding band and floating a couple of diamonds. And you would think it was sort of like a strange mother of pearl effect, but it was one of the tarpon scales, and she flipped out when she got it.
Yeah.
Didn't take a lot to put that together.
No.
Yeah.
And
just asking questions.
Right. She's a customer for life now. You did something that was above and beyond. I do believe it's that special touch. I know that part of your core identity and some of your philosophy, if you could, to that point, is the storytelling. And through jewelry and making sure you're putting that across. Can you talk further about that creative and meaningful thing that you do through storytelling? Maybe give some good tips to your fellow retailers who are watching or anyone. Could you add to that a little bit?
That's a tough question, Lisa, because the tip part of it is being a really powerful, sacred listener. And that can be a little bit, sorry, just adjusting my volume. That can be, it can be difficult and draining emotionally and energy wise. If you're really connecting with somebody, you're really listening to them rather than thinking about the other 5 things you've got to do and which catalog can I go grab, which picture can I show them. If you're really listening, that starts to create that relationship and the opportunity as an artist to create for them. That's a tough tip to take. I've got other tips that I think are much better, much more powerful. Like I just sent a picture of our sign, a little sandwich sign we have out on the street by our driveway that says, we do watch batteries while you wait. And I'll tell you, and this is getting away from design a little bit, but that simple little sandwich sign, and I hear on a lot of jewelers forums, oh my God, I can't wait to stop doing watch batteries. I hate doing watch batteries. It's such an interruption in my day. Well, let me tell you, I would never put that sign away because every month, 60 to 80 new clients walk in my door because they don't know where to go get a watch battery. They don't want to go to the mall. They don't know where to go. So we all know what the cost is to attract a new client. And here they are walking into my door for a free watch battery because if it's their first time, we give it to them complimentary, but we also take all of their data to put into our database. So think about every month, 60 to 80 new names are going into our database. And we've got them in our front door looking around while we're fussing with their watch. And I can't think of a more powerful new client acquisition technique than cheerfully doing watch batteries.
Take note.
There you go.
Take note.
Take note. Absolutely.
Take
I've
note.
heard another jeweler give watch batteries. I think their mantra was trying to give one free watch battery every day. They don't do it for everyone, but they definitely try. And
we do first responders and we do medical technicians and veterans, of course, and any way to say thank you. A watch battery is really an easy way to do that. And the impact of giving somebody something free that they expect to pay for goes a long way.
Absolutely,
Wow.
and same thing I heard, and that's amazing.
Wow.
You've been in the business for a while,
Long time.
and
Since high school.
since high school.
Long time. Since high school.
Congratulations,
Since
and
high school.
you've done pretty
Since
well,
high
won some
school.
awards, and what there's some like I was talking about earlier. Some jewelers are looking to stand out, and really. I don't know. Put themselves on the map. I guess it's hard to,
Good
hard
question.
to put that. But what would you
Good question, yeah.
suggest for a jeweler that's kind of trying to figure out their groove, their flow, and trying to really stand out in their community as the jeweler?
Well, I can tell you what we did, Guy, and
Mhm.
I've done seminars on this, and a lot of advice is, as jewelers, we're kind of expected to give stuff away to various organizations in our community, whether it's a door prize or a raffle prize or something like that. And early on, we really took on the opportunity, but to go in a much bigger way. We didn't want to be door prize people, and we didn't want to be raffle item people. We wanted to be live auction in front of the crowd, on stage people.
Yeah.
And we started marketing to probably the nicest country club in our area at the time. So we're going back 40 years. And I wanted to get involved with their golf tournaments. I wanted to go and talk to their ladies' luncheons about the jewelry business.
So they could
I wanted to be in-
recognize what we were about, what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we learned to do is we learned to manage our giving. And of course, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Right.
So early on, we started keeping track of how much we gave away on a monthly basis, what we were doing on an annual basis, the organizations. And we also wanted to make sure when we did that, that it was a win-win partnership. It wasn't a manipulation. It wasn't a strategy. It wasn't even really a marketing strategy because we didn't know how to wrap our hands around that.
Got it. Yep.
So we wanted to put our face out there, but we realized that if people were attending different events, they probably had disposable
Got it.
income.
Yep.
That's someone we want to use.
Got it.
And also, they validated us. If we were involved with this particular charity, whether it's the American Cancer Society or Big Brothers Big Sisters, the fact that we were partners with them validated who we were in the community. Oh, they're doing work with them. They must be okay and not sketchy people. And that just grew and grew and grew. And then we also had to learn how to say no in the same process. So we wouldn't partner in with people who walked in 3 days before an event looking for a door prize. And we would explain that in an appreciative way, so we didn't upset them. We didn't sound snotty or condescending. But it's like, hey, event sounds great. Can you get to us a little early next year, and let's see what we can do together? So as that grew, we found not only was it the easiest way to meet celebrities who are clients of mine, was to be able to sit next to them at a charity event, because I would ask for that. And that's the other part is when we started to get more involved, we started asking for more things as a donor to the event. Hey, can you get me the mail list of all the people you're mailing out to? Oh, you can't do that? Can you get me at least the list of the folks that show up so that I can, send them a thank you note? So we started asking for a table where we could bring some of the staff or I could bring some of my clients to the event. And it became a real partnership. I would bring along some really great clients who I knew were going to open their wallets and spend money for the organization. They gave us prime position at the event, prime positioning in their programs, things like that. So it was a type of, I wouldn't say guerrilla marketing, but it put us in a position ahead of a lot of my competitors as someone who was contributing back to the community. And it wasn't just me, my whole staff were behind me and doing it. They loved what we were doing. But also our pieces that we were donating were going to premier people in the community. And it was fun to watch 2 or 3 of them fighting over one of our pieces with their wallets.
Wow.
Live auction. So routinely our pieces that may be valued for 10,000 in our showcase were going for 20, 30, 40,000 if you get the right people who wanted them.
Yeah.
For the prestige of being the winner of the auction.
Right.
So it was one of the things I like to talk to jewelers about, and I've had inquiries, is like, how do I manage a philanthropic program with our store? And that's kind of where you decide, where do you want to be in your community? What kind of clients do you want to have? Do you have the ability to put some pieces out there? If you're going to do a large gift card, you want to make it so it's redeemable in the store. And can you set up a VIP night for just that couple that wins the gift certificate or the gift card, where they come in and you've got the nicest champagne and you've got wonderful hors d'oeuvres. So they have your time exclusively.
Right.
They can their gift certificate, and routinely as well, if it's, let's say, a $2,500 gift card or $5,000, they're going to go 4 times over that.
Yep.
Spend.
Sure.
And it's just one of the great ways to develop a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great idea. And a lot of jewelers, there are a lot of jewelers that use, charity and events, but there's also lots of jewelers that don't, and trying to figure out that. Do you, is this something that, working with charities and events, that is kind of talked a lot about in the organizations, in the groups with other jewelers?
No, it's not actually. Some of the folks that are involved in education with some of the shows that know what we do and know who we are, that invite me to come be a part of that.
Sure.
I always have 4 or 5 people afterwards who want to know more. Like, how do you formulate this? How do you set it up? What's the strategy? How do you begin it? And part of it is you got to have your staff, the store support people in the store, because if you can't attend every organizational event, you want to know that your staff can go and take a couple of tickets for the table and represent you at the event. And most of my staff like doing that. So
yeah. No, that's great. Maybe you should.
It's always great when they get to sit next to a celebrity.
There you go. That's it. That's right there.
I get through the list, and it's just my kids never believe it when I say, "Oh yeah, I met that person. They were actually sitting on my lap at a charity event."
That's it. I was spoon feeding
it. What kind of celebrities are we talking about?
We had one particular event here in Fort Myers that my dear friend Robert Rauschenberg, the artist, he lent his name to it, and we also partnered with him to help elevate not only who was attending the event, but the fundraising they were doing. And Bob accessed some of his celebrity clients to come be the celebrity MC for the event. So we had everybody from, Lauren Hutton, Sharon Stone, folks like that town, and some would do a really wonderful job. Joan Rivers, I remember being on stage with Joan Rivers, and I had to keep pushing her security guards away because they kept crowding us. But had Lauren Hutton sitting on my lap at a particular event.
Nice.
She was delightful and did a great job raising money for the organization.
I bet she says the same thing about you.
I sure hope so. See, one of those things I really want to highlight, Guy, is that it's got to be a win-win partnership.
Absolutely.
If it starts to become or smell like a strategy, if it starts to have a smell like a manipulation, not only did organizations get that, I think the attendees get that as well. So if it's not authentic and you're really there to make a difference and an impact with the mission of the organization, you shouldn't be there.
Yes. And I think that's the great thing about the jewelry industry is the collaboration, the help, the support that is offered among the jewelers is genuine and authentic. And that's why a lot of people love to go out to the shows and, get together with their group or whatever and talk shop, talk about what's important, what's challenging, what's cool, or just have fun and connect. I think that's very important, but it's also very valuable to learn from others what they do. And not everything that works in Florida works in Chicago or out, Utah and whatnot, but it's always great to hear what other people are doing. And, maybe you can,
I met a wonderful lady. I won a trip to Antwerp to go check out diamond buying in Antwerp. And so we were sitting in the lobby of the hotel. I want to say about a dozen retailers that were also on the trip. And I met a lovely lady from Michigan who was running a smaller store than we were. And I kind of shared with her, we were having trouble with our holiday party. Our holiday parties were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. More and more people were attending, and we were selling less and less jewelry, putting out more money for food and champagne and wine. And I'm like, that's the jump start to our Christmas season. We need to make a few dollars. And she said, well, let me share with you something that we do, and it's connected to charity and da-da-da. And it was brilliant. So we shifted we stopped doing our holiday party. We got rid of all the grazers that would come, eat, drink, and never buy jewelry. Like, how do we get rid of those people? And we started doing something that she shared. And gosh, I want to think our first one was $250,000.
Wow.
And we had a fraction of the people here. but everything was set up and teed up correctly. And it really is how we work. We work intimately. We're all about connection and relationship with our clients, not so much about pushing jewelry on them as it is getting to know who they are and their kids and special occasions in their lives. And it's great when we can be there and supply something for them, but it's also just great to know them.
Right.
Friends in the community.
Right. No, that sounds amazing. And she, again, that's because of, there's no, it's not challenging. It's not a competition. You guys are helping each other. And, that was a great advice, and it yielded lots of results for you. And that's amazing.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And, that's why a lot of, being part of the RJO group, it's been really great to, collaborate and talk to people, but also see the friendships come together again at the shows and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, you've been part of RJO for quite a while now.
Well, we've been RJO members, Guy, but we were doing such large numbers. They never required us to come to the show. They said, okay, just keep buying. Which I thought was kind of strange.
Yeah.
But then I got onto the foundation board of directors, so hopefully utilize some of my skills in being on boards of directors in different foundations. Sure. And I love what the foundation's doing in our industry, and feel like I'm able to make a contribution with my fellow board members who are awesome. I learn a lot from every meeting. Yeah. And the RJO is doing something a little bit different, which I like.
Yeah. What's that? I want to hear it.
Well, the fact that we've got a foundation, the fact that we've got rebates coming from our vendors, they do the merchandise community does such a great job validating the vendors, all of that contributes. And also the opportunity to get together and just have a cocktail with my fellow members or people that want to seek me out, opinions, things like that. How you guys do this? How do you do that? So I love the kind of conversations where we can share with each other.
Right. Wow.
And RJO, they always have a lot of networking opportunities, and so definitely worth going to a show just to rub shoulders with your friends and friendly competition and learn some things. I'm sure
it's definitely more interesting attending the show. I was surprised by how much I enjoy it, but I also like the small nature of it. Like I know JCK's going on right now, and it's such a crazy, huge show.
Exactly.
It's nutty.
It's nutty. Exactly.
You can't go to it without a defined plan, or you'll just be wandering around lost.
Absolutely. I know that, you go to JCK, there's lots of cliques and people, and, there's not a cohesive, it's great. There's a great environment as well. But when you go to RJO, the smaller shows, you go hang out at the bar where everybody hangs out. You get to meet and talk a lot of people. And I think the community aspect is really so much more present at an RJO show and other industry shows like that. And it's very valuable, I think. And would
education as well.
I've said the education, exactly. Would you recommend jewelers to check out buying group associations like RJO?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, a couple of my friends who are not members of any buyers group, I recommended they check it out. And multiple reasons, like we just talked about. There's the advantage of getting to know certain vendors and having the time whereas some of the big shows, you just don't have the time.
Right.
The financial remuneration, the opportunity to meet other stores. There's a lot of mom and pops, smaller stores. There's lots of transition going on in the industry right now, from selling, new owners, new partners, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. And although it's pretty soon there'll be less and less of us old guys around. We've been doing this for 2 or 3 economic downturns, COVID.
Right.
How to survive that stuff. It's
exactly.
I feel it. We're rock stars for surviving all that, in my opinion. If we've made it that far, we've made it. Yay.
I still have calluses on my fingertips, Elesa, from
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's but that's so cool. Looking back through your years, let me ask you something about what one of your favorite pieces that you designed and why it was your favorite piece.
It would have to be one piece that was really, I would say it's momentous in my career because it changed the trajectory of of what we consider to be precious.
Oh.
And it changed my thought pattern and I was really fortunate with my friend Robert Rauschenberg, because being an artist, a famous artist, we had a lot of conversations about what art was and what made an impact and what's the conversation of art. And this lovely couple came in. It was a mother and daughter. She was quite elderly, and her daughter made the appointment for her, and they came in and she said, at least can we spend a little bit of time with Mark? And absolutely. So she came in, and they put a little box on the table with cotton and opened the box, and there was this, I don't know, button about 1.5 inches across in the box. And we're all looking at the button, and her daughter started to sniffle a little bit. I went and got some tissue. I'm going to have to tell you the story about this button, and that's going to be the genesis for the piece we want to do for my mother. And she said she was in line with her mother, my grandmother, in Auschwitz, got off the train in Auschwitz, was in line holding my mother's hand, and they separated them. And when they separated them, she tore this button off my grandmother's coat, and she never saw her mother again. She didn't make it out of the camps. And the young girl did make it, her mom right there made it out of the camp and still hung on to the button.
Wow.
So it was something that had been in the family, of course, and it was a touchstone for their family. And there was so much emotion, sentimental emotion tied around this button, that if it had been a 10-carat diamond, it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
So they kind of communicated what they wanted to do for their mom, rather than keep it in the drawer. They
Yeah.
wanted people to wear it and keep it close to her heart.
Mhm.
So we designed something really simple in platinum with diamonds that she could wear every day. And it was the conversation, it was the sensitivity, it was the emotional, all that emotion. It was in this button, this object, that other people would have thought, that's just an ugly button.
No kidding.
And it was not that at all for the family. So as a designing jeweler, goldsmith, it was sort of incumbent on me to design something so that story could be told. Everybody who would see it on her would ask. And I think the more she told the story, the easier it got to tell the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Did you
that
feel
was a trajectory for me?
right? Was that a lot of pressure to take on that project because it had so much sentimental meaning?
Yeah. Courage. I don't know if courage is the right word. It was more of like emotional fortitude.
Right.
Yeah.
Every time we opened this box up, Guy, we all got a little choked up because we knew the story behind it. We knew where it came from and who wore it, and it was powerful.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, it was. And we also had another client who brought in her father's Stalag prisoner badge. He was a pilot. He was shot down, went to Stalag something, and he had this little metal badge that had been sewed to his prison uniform. So his daughter still had that, and she asked us, she wanted to wear it. So the only thing, it was starting to fall apart and just deteriorate. So we wound up encasing it in a really strong resin, clear resin, that she could wear.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really do anything other than protect it in this resin ball.
Yeah.
And she could tell that story about when people say, what is that you're wearing? And she'd tell the story about her dad and his incarceration during the war and all of that.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, really, that's one of the beautiful things about being a jeweler, is that you are part of so many amazing stories with your customers. Not just the new love stories, the new life, but also those types of stories that just have so much meaning, beyond, like you said, beyond the material and the gems or whatever that you use. It's beyond that. It's got, it's irreplaceable. It's really worth so much more to their family than a 10-carat diamond. Yes.
And also to have the opportunity to enhance that with gems or diamonds and make it tell a little bit louder a story and add a particular artistry to it. That's really why we're here.
I mean, that's giving me chills, and I'm getting a little bit clumped.
We had a tough time for 2 weeks, Elesa, working on it. It was like a little singularity of emotion in our shot.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
Sure.
shows you how strong it is, that what we do is a strong emotion. You're just not going through the ebbs and the flows of running a business or being a goldsmith. It is true emotion because you have the love for it. You have the drive for it. It's not just going to a job. It's doing things that make a difference in families.
Right. I remember I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to introduce David Liu to a jeweler's. He was the keynote speaker and he's the CEO of the Knot.
Yeah.
David. Mm-hmm. So we were sitting in the green room before the introduction and we were chatting back and forth. And I was thrilled that I was asked to introduce him. And we were talking about this huge survey that the Knot had done with their readership, like 500,000 responses. And one of the things that came up was the low percentage of women who received an engagement ring that went back, their satisfaction level going back into the jewelry store to have it sized or polished or clean. They weren't getting the same level of service their fiance got purchasing it. So there's this really interesting dichotomy of girls got the ring and they were all excited and then, it doesn't fit. And then they go in the store to have it sized and they're treated like a second-class citizen. This is David telling me. And he said, a girl who just got her engagement ring wants to leave it for 2 weeks to be sized. And I thought, yeah, you're right. That, So what can we do about that? How can we make a crack in that? How can we shift that whole conversation? So one of the things we as a store and a gallery decided to do is any woman or man who comes in with their engagement ring, if they purchase it somewhere else, they're on vacation, whatever, if they need it worked on immediately, we do it. We drop what we're doing. We size it. We tighten the stone if necessary, give it a polish and a clean, give them a glass of wine, chat with them, and we never charge them for that. So we want to continue the joy of that gift of getting an engagement ring. We want that to continue with the work we do, even though we weren't involved in the sale. But I think it's incumbent on our industry to keep that joy and precious moments alive, rather than turn it into a bad thing, a bad experience.
Sure.
Wow.
One of the things we do here.
Yeah, that's just great stuff. That's how you do it. I imagine that lady might have come back a few more times after that visit, and that's what it's all about. So sure,
It's really less about her coming back, Elesa, than it is about the huge smiles on both their faces when they went out the door to enjoy the rest of their vacation.
Right.
Yes.
So coming back is it's a plus on that. It goes all the way around. Yeah, that's fantastic.
We got to meet a great couple in the process.
There you go.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I think you said it earlier. It's not about it's about the satisfaction of doing a great job for great people and being part of people's lives. And congratulations on, it sounded like 40 plus years of doing this.
Last year was 40 years in my business, probably since high school. Let's add on like another 5 on that. But when I do luncheons and dinners and I'm a public speaker for the industry, I always tell people that my first and foremost prerogative is not to push pretty polished pebbles. It's to make sure people are taken care of. They have their questions answered. The knowledge that I have, if I can contribute, so that they feel better about if it's a purchase, if it's a question, if it's a repair, something they may want to buy for their niece. What should they be thinking about? Any way we can be helpful with that rather than push a sale, we're doing our job.
Fantastic. Amazing. Well, definitely, like Lisa said earlier, there's lots of pearls of wisdom that you shared here with us. And thank you so much for sharing your experience and, helping some others with, kind of navigating this industry and what we got and with your stories and so forth. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way? Your website, social media?
Website. There's our contact info and it'll come right to me. That's the easiest way. Yeah.
Well,
although the other thing I do too, that I just talked about with another group, is I always give my cell phone out to clients.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
I heard somebody on JHJ say, I never give my cell phone out. I draw the line. This is my private life. This is my business life. But I'll tell you, I always give my cell phone out because I get phone calls and texts at all hours of the day and night from people who, they're late with a gift, that they're thinking about this, they're thinking about that. And if they don't reach me immediately, they're going to go on to the next person that they can reach because they want to solve that problem. So I want to be available to help them solve that problem. And that
Oh, yeah.
translates into some serious sales, let me tell you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate you, and I hope all of our listeners and subscribers. Oh, yeah. Also, please subscribe if you haven't already to YouTube. You can find us on any of your podcasts. Make sure that you definitely go check out Mark Loren Designs. He's on YouTube. He's on Instagram, Facebook. He'll give you his cell phone number. You can call him.
I will.
Yeah, but we hopefully will see you at an upcoming show. I just wanted to pass along and, thank you so much. And I hope everybody will go and follow Mark Loren Designs online as well as our Pearls of Wisdom. We do really appreciate it so much.
Guys, appreciate you
All
guys
right.
too.
Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Elesa. Catch
Thank
later.
you.
Bye. Thank you for watching another episode of the Pearls of Wisdom Jewelry Podcast. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.